It looks like the prosecution is trying to deny George any kind of information to the jury that might make Trayvon Martin look bad. They filed motions to block this information from getting out, and I'm going to talk about this little clip here, and we're going to see. But I think it's kind of interesting that the prosecution would think that the judge would deny this information reaching the jury when, in fact, the judge already ruled that it was okay for the defense to discover this information. So remember earlier on, the prosecution said, no, you can't look at his tweets. No, you can't look at all of his online information. But the judge ignored what the prosecution had said and ordered that this information be released to the defense. Why would the judge give this information to the defense if it wasn't something that would be valuable to use in the case to the jury?
The state wants to make sure that Trayvon Martin's past drug use and school discipline problems do not get in front of the jury. Tony Pipitone is covering a slew of motions that were just filed. And Tony, these kinds of motions are not unusual. No.
But you got to ask yourself, why is it that the prosecution is so concerned that the jury would get to hear about Trayvon's past drug use or other things? So let's listen to it.
Some of the ones filed today are really pretty standard, just a precaution, allowing the judge to put the other side on notice not to get out of line. But several of the state's motions specifically target Trayvon Martin's past, areas prosecutors say they have good reason to think the defense may try to exploit.
Of course they're going to try to exploit it. That's why they had to go to the judge to get the information.
Areas they claim should never be heard by a jury.
Why would a jury not get to hear this kind of information in a self-defense case? Wouldn't it be prudent that the jury get to hear this information? Let's see. Trayvon was a drug addict who beat people up. Well, no, we can't bring that up in a self-defense case because that would prejudice the jury in thinking that Trayvon might be somebody who would attack people unjustly.
Trayvon Martin was 17 when he died, with some of the interests one might find in many 17-year-olds, hip-hop fashions, marijuana, social media postings that might have made him wince had he lived long enough to mature. Now, 4 weeks before jury selection, lead prosecutor Bernie De La Rionda fears George Zimmerman's defense team may try to put Martin's character on trial alongside their client.
Of course they are. In fact, that's part of the whole argument. Trayvon Martin was a thug who decided to beat the night watchman who was just trying to monitor the actions of this suspicious guy. Of course Trayvon's past is going to be part of this case, and for them to even waste their time with this kind of stuff shows how out of touch they really are.
So the state filed a series of motions aimed at getting Judge Deborah Nelson to lay down the law on what will be off limits before a jury is even chosen. Among the topics the state wants barred, Martin's use of marijuana, including the traces found in his system when he died, his suspensions from school, any fights he may have participated in, his social media postings and text messages, all of it irrelevant.
So you got to wonder, there must be some evidence they know is going to come out or that is available to the defense concerning fights that Trayvon has been in the past. So we've been discussing this for a long time, and we don't have that evidence in hand, but apparently the defense does, or the prosecution would not be trying to block it from coming to the jury. I mean, if the jury is to make a correct ruling on this case, they have to know if Trayvon was a violent type. That's why the judge originally ruled that it was okay for them to look at all this stuff.
Would serve only to prejudice the jury, De La Rionda wrote. Character assassination is something Martin's family's attorneys have sensed for months.
I think people lose focus of the fact that, Trayvon is the victim of a crime. I mean, he's the victim in this case.
It's a good thing she fixed that, because he was not the victim of a crime. He was committing a crime when the victim used whatever tool he had to stop the attack. we have absolute evidence that Trayvon was attacking George. We have witnesses, we have physical evidence. There's no doubt about that. And the jury will definitely find that out, and they will hear that. And there's no way that Natalie Jackson or any of these other race baiters are going to be able to deny that.
The one that was killed.
Killed, but not murdered, if the jury believes Zimmerman's self-defense claim. The state is also asking jurors never hear that Sanford police did not think there was enough evidence to charge Zimmerman in Martin's death. Police claimed all evidence they had supported Zimmerman's claim of self-defense.
Now, that is really important. How could you imagine that, let's say you were in this situation, and all the police and the DA's office and everybody agreed that it was totally self-defense. But then this special prosecutor chosen by a governor outside of the rule of law, the normal rule of law, decides that she's going to ignore the police. Not only that, but this prosecutor has decided that they don't want the jury to know that the police said there is no evidence to support a conviction, and that's why they didn't choose to arrest George. And it's just hard to imagine that we could possibly have a prosecutor, a state prosecutor, who would try to deny this information to the jury.
Such opinions, the state argued, would be improper for a jury to hear.
And how do you suppose that it would be improper for the jury to hear that the police, the people who are charged with investigating these crimes and trying to decide whether they should go to trial, the DA's office, who is absolutely charged, 100%, that's their job. That's what they do. They make the decision. Is this a valid case? Can we win it? If we can't win it, we don't even take it to trial. If it's a purely self-defense case, it's not going to trial, and it wasn't going to go to trial. The only reason it did was because we had special prosecutors. When I say special, I mean the kind that ride on the short bus.
Reached out to the defense today to ask if they really do intend to try to use these issues about Martin's past at trial, but so far they've had no comment.
Well, all you have to do is look at their comments from the past, over the last year. Obviously, they're going to use all this information. The judge has already given them access to the information, so apparently the judge agrees with them. So, just a lot of wasted time and a bunch of idiots in the prosecution. You wonder how these people even get through school. How? Well, good talking to you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.